All right, so yet another install project on our 23 VB WRX. I figured we'll do a video of it. Kind of had a little information video about the Biletworkz short throw shifter lever. I had bought the whole kit that came with a lever, the bushing, the stop, and then this short throw shifter plate. I was kind of on the fence whether I was going to install this or not. But I figured, what the heck, I got it. Hopefully it won't be too much, too short, too stiff, but we'll see. So we got the plate. You're going to need a hammer, 12 mil socket, 14 mil socket, and then a 14 mil deep. I think you're going to need this for some of the bolts on the transmission cross member, transmission mount. A whole bunch of punches. I believe you need 3/16 for the roll pin, but you're gonna need some bigger ones, 3/16 to get it out, bigger ones to drive it back in. I just bought a cheap punch set. As far as the plate goes, one of my biggest concerns was alignment on the pin when you're trying to put it back through, because you gotta kind of set the roll pin in. So I was thinking some cheap Allen keys, maybe a good guide to throw in up top to kind of get it aligned. And then, if there's enough clearance, maybe it can drive out. So I got a couple of cheap, from a IKEA type furniture Allen keys to see if that'll help with alignment. Anyway, you also likely need a open end box end wrench. Ratcheting may be nice, and 12 millimeter to get all the heat shield bolts out. So get your car jacked up, get chocked up. First thing we're gonna do, I believe they're 12 millimeter. We gotta get this heat shield out of the way. Mostly, that one right there, mostly just to get it off of this transmission cross member, transmission mount. Just to get it off of that. So we may only just need to take those two off, but I'm gonna kick it out of the way. And then, so those are 12s, these are 14s. All in this transmission cross member. I think you gotta take this whole sucker out. I'm hoping, let's see what we got up here. I think this will come off as one piece. So the mount right here, I think we'll leave the mount on. Take these bolts out, take these side bolts out, and I think this will come off. I'm gonna have to take this exhaust mount off too, I think. We'll see. Actually, no, it's not hooked into this, so we may be able to snake this brace off without it. Yeah, because I think what we'll do, I think this part will come off. You separate it here, and then this part comes off. And these are all 14s on this. Then we're gonna go up in here, take some of these. We're gonna take this bracket out for the shift linkage. There's a plate right here we're gonna take out, and then there's this whole shield up in here that we're gonna have to take out. And I guess there's a bolt on top that's a real pain in the butt to get to. So that's kind of what we need those box end wrenches for. So anyway, we're gonna start with the heat shield, start taking this bad boy out, and then start working our way into access, because your actual plate's up in here under this shield up in here. So this is really where you want to get to. We gotta clear out the space to get in there. Okay, so we're part of the way. I'm getting the transmission mounts off. This bolt right here is a 16 mil. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. So you're gonna need a 16 millimeter to get this final cross brace off. I've already got the back one off. Loosen the actual transmission mount up to kind of give it some play. Had a little bit of drop when we popped this guy, but I've got a feeling we're gonna get obviously a little bit more drop. Pretty much being held up by drive shaft and the engine at that point. So we're gonna pop this 16 off, and then should have more access to get all the heat shields off. Okay, so we got that transmission cross brace out. We're working on getting this little plate off. 12 millimeter, I got one of the bolts out. I think you're pretty much gonna have to go open end wrench in here. There's not a lot of room to get a socket even in here. Maybe get a socket, but I've taken this off before because I've got already got the hard bushing in, solid bushing, whatever you want to call it. But that little sucker, these bolts were in there stupid tight. I don't know if they were seized up a little bit, but I had to do the old double wrench trick to get it out before. So just be warned that I've got a feeling these ones are gonna suck too. So yeah, we've got to get this guy out. I think there's another one visible up there, but okay, they're on the back side. There's one there, one up top. I think there's 4 total. I think we're gonna try to take this bracket off first to give ourselves some room to work with. So there's a cotter pin there and a washer to take this shift linkage off. I got a bunch of grease on it, so I'm gonna get a rag. But yeah, pop that guy off, take the cotter pin, take the washer. I think these are, let's see if I got a wrench that'll fit. I think these are probably 12. Yeah, so the 2 bolts up in there to take the shift cable bracket off are 12mm too. So we're gonna get that guy off, take these 2 bolts off, the other bolts above the cable there, and get ourselves some room to start taking the cover of the shifter plate off. Okay, so we got those 2 bolts off. Our shifter cable, trying to find it right there, tucked it away. Here's our plate. There's the roll pin we gotta get out eventually. So you can see how much fun that's gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be easier to, or it's gonna be easier to have this guy set, but maybe right there. Anyway, we gotta get these 12 mils out. So there's 2 on the back, 1 here, and I believe, I may have to wait for this to cool down more. Yeah, there's 1 right up there. That one's gonna suck, the 1 right up there. 2 on the back shouldn't be too bad. This guy should be a cakewalk. So, and this thing's been sitting for a few hours and it's still pretty hot. So we'll see what we can do, and I have to let it sit for a little bit longer to cool off to get all these bolts out. But the idea is we gotta get this cover off, and that'll get us clear on the back side of this plate. And then we can start working on drifting that guy out. You can see there's a lot of stuff on the transmission in the way. I remember seeing something about using maybe a small socket and an extension, almost as an extension to the punch. I may give that a shot, because it's going to, my punches aren't that long, and it's going to be a real pain to not bang the crap out of all this aluminum housing. It's going to be fun just to get leverage in here, so we'll see how we do. We may have to jack the car up more to get more swing, but I'll see what happens. Okay, we got it off. I tell you, if you don't have a box end ratcheting with a little bit of a swivel on it, you're gonna have a heck of a time. You gotta get your hand up in here, use the other hand on the back side to hold it in place, and there's just a tiny bit of room to bang it up in there, break it free. And of course they use an excessively long bolt, so patience. All right, so I think we're getting close to the, really the commitment here. Yeah, we're gonna have to see what we're gonna have to rig up to drive this guy out. Won't be able to get much video of it, but I think based on the length of my punches, I may have to do something with some kind of extension. We'll see what we can do here though. Okay, getting this roll pin out is no joke. I don't even know how much time I spent. And it wasn't wise doing it in the heat of Arizona. Anyway, I ended up using a little baby hammer. Funny enough, it worked a lot better than a full-size hammer. I may have donated a 10mm deep socket on the end of my punch. So what I ended up doing to give myself the, I'm sorry, I'm using one hand here, but to get the leverage is I ended up using an extension, beat the living snot out of the end of it, but it'll still work as an extension. You know, it's a Husky tool. They're disposable-ish. Put this back together. So yeah, I ended up making this kind of extended punch. You may be able to find a punch that's long enough, but you can see this sucker. Get it all the way up in there. It gave me enough to come down, reach in, and not beat the piss out of the transmission. Sorry for the language, but this was fun. If you use your punch just like a regular punch, it's going to rest right in here. And even with having the extension, you can see a little bit of marring right there. Got a little bit right there too. The edge of the punch kind of drug on that casting area. So I wouldn't say it chewed it up, but it marred it up a little bit. Not the end of the world. But I could just see if you don't have that extension, you're just going to pound away on all this and just make it real ugly. I mean, I guess you could make it worse. You could actually damage your transmission. But anyway, we got it out. You can see I'm starting to get the plate off, but it's pretty stiff, so probably get a screwdriver into there. And I may take a break for the rest of the day because this sucked the life out of me. I don't know. We'll see what it's like. It's gonna be a real bummer if I don't like the way it feels. Because yeah, you can see there's a little chewed up right there. I'm not even sure what the heck these are for. It must be for like, I don't even know. Is that threaded in there? Can't tell. It does look threaded. I wonder if that's just to hoist the transmission or something. No. I'm gonna go with a duh on that. These are the holes for the these are the holes for the that little cover plate. That's what the heck those are. Oh my gosh, that's silly. Cool, it'll be all covered up. Anyway, that's what those are. Those are the holes for that plate that covers this area. Yeah, that's what these are. This was for the main cover that's not going to go back on. Anywho, yeah, again, you may just want to do the regular short shifter. That's a lot easier than messing around with this thing. This is an experience. I wouldn't say a good one either. So yeah, we're gonna get that guy out. My roll pin's somewhere down there. There it is. Kind of shot out. Yeah, we'll get this guy off and probably take a break and then start figuring out how to get the other one on. Hopefully it'll go on easier than this roll pin came out. All right, we got the Biletworkz plate in. So what I have, and you probably won't be able to see it, is on the back side, I've got an Allen key punched through, not punched through, but slid through the hole. So we have minimal movement. So I'm hoping it'll hold it roughly in place. There's a little bit of play, but I'm hoping that'll get us closer. I guess we're somewhere right about here. We'll see. I've got a brass punch back in the 10 mil socket, a little Teflon tape to hold it stable. And we'll just see if we can get her to go in. I figure the brass punch is nice because I can run it right up flush. Won't hurt anything. So we'll see if that little trick helps keep it a little closer where it should be. Hopefully that chamfer on the end of the roll pin will guide it in and we'll be good. We'll see. Okay, so we got her in there flush. 1/4 inch extensions ended up being my friend here. They're perfect. Set of 1/4 inch extensions. Absolutely perfect for running that in. Nice and thin, didn't get in the way. And just a little bit of round point on it. Ended up seating that in real nice. I don't know if I can get a view on the back side. I'm gonna try to swing it in. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Let's see if we can get it. I don't know, maybe. Guess we'll have to check that later. But yeah, so looks pretty good. Nice and recessed. You know, a little bit. Let's see if we can catch it right there. It'll be hard to get the video to catch. Let's zoom in a little bit. But you can see I got it just a little bit recessed. Focus, there we go. So yeah, just a little bit recessed. The double roll pin's nice and flush, so I think we're good to go. Oh, that is a pain, but we got it in. Now it's time to reassemble. Going in was a heck of a lot easier than coming apart, I'll tell you what. Hopefully I don't have to redo my shift stop adjustments up top, but you know, not worried about that compared to putting this bad boy in. So yeah, just, you know, a little bit of scuffage here. Not the end of the world. You know, any scuffage bums me out, but it's also being hyper obsessive, but that's not much at all. Be careful. You do not want to whack your transmission. That's all I'm saying. It'd be a bad day. Really beat on it. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put it back together. Hopefully I like the way it feels, because that's gonna be a real bummer. I'm not taking this apart again. All right, next step is to get your cable back on the plate. Make sure you get your washer in there, your clip. Again, I've got the hard bushing on it already. Put your bracket back on, tighten these guys down. Don't crank them too hard, they're in aluminum. Check your clearances, make sure when this guy comes down, you got a little bit of room in there. It's pretty close to the boot, but not quite touching, so we're good there. Then we'll put our plate back on here. Again, don't need a ton of torque. And yeah, we're gonna start putting the transmission braces back on, carrier, mount, whatever the hell you wanna call them. But I think the hard part is past us, so just putting it back together. Alrighty, so we've got all of our cross members and transmission braces and whatnot loosely installed. The interwebs is telling me that on this cross member, these big 16 mils are 76 foot-pounds. So I got my torque wrench set to 76 foot-pounds. That's gonna be not horrible, but not fun under here. So we'll get those two tightened down. Grab this torque spec for these, I think these are 12s. Yeah, these are 12s. 14, sorry. We'll get this torque spec for the 14s. So we're gonna get these guys first at 76 foot-pounds. Okay, all the 14 mils, your transmission mount, this brace, and the back side of it, they are all 51.6 foot-pounds. So we're gonna hit them with 52 foot-pounds. And we'll be all torqued up. I'll throw the heat shield on. We're done. All right, got our heat shield back in place. All the braces are torqued up. Everything's buttoned up under here, so we're all set. Just gotta lower the car down. I messed around with it a little bit to check out how, sorry, I'm crawling my way out from under here. But I messed around with it to check out how short these shifts are, and it is substantial. Yeah, I think there was another YouTuber that said it may not be for everybody. I think I agree. Hopefully it won't be too short, because I really don't want to undo what I did. Let's see if I can give a little bit of a demonstration. It's going to be tough because I can't get the clutch in this position, but let's do third and fourth. Here's neutral. I mean, that's third, fourth. It is crazy short. See, it's even hard sometimes to find neutral. There's neutral. Thirds, I mean, it's gonna take some getting used to, but yeah, I think it'll be fun. So all done. It is quite a project. I'd recommend just doing the shifter, the actual shifter lever, maybe skipping the plate. Plate's a real pain. You got to be ready for it. And I'm not sure if I'd recommend you have a shop do it, because I could just see them beating the living crap out of the transmission trying to hammer it in. So anyway, all set. Hope this helps.